think there's a sense Elon's sort of been radicalized by his own algorithm. He seems to engage and amplify a lot of these accounts that are pushing either misinformation or they're very sort of like we call it like rage baiting kind of accounts.
The Elon Musk there on the big debate, interview, whatever's going to happen. I wonder who's going to get a word in edgeways, because the billionaire entrepreneur is due to interview the presidential candidate Donald Trump on X tonight. It's an event that could inject more surprises, of course, into the turbulent US presidential election. Things have changed a lot in the last few days. Musk is a vocal supporter of the former US president, of course, and current Republican nominee. He has restored Trump's Twitter and X account, which was suspended after the January 6th insurrection, but Trump has not returned actively to the platform. There's a big debate as well and a tension between them when Musk had certainly endorsed Ron DeSantis at one stage. So what can we expect from tonight's highly anticipated event? Well, Hugh Langley is a senior correspondent at Business Insider. He's been covering Elon Musk for a number of years, which I imagine have not been boring, Hugh. There have been many things, but presumably not boring.
No, there's never a dull moment on the Elon beat, and neither on the Donald Trump beat. So you bring them together and you've got a pretty
certainly. And it's interesting, not just the fact that this is happening, but also the platform that it's happening on, because of course the way people interact with the US election, the information, disinformation, various aspects of this, and X has been under fire for so many different reasons. I wonder how you kind of assess this in terms of, even before either man opens their mouth to speak, what are the expectations and what's the context?
Well, I think for Donald Trump, the expectation is reaching listeners that he may not be reaching otherwise. So, he has a very devoted base of followers, but I think he wants to get more people, have more people hear him. Obviously, there's a bit of a sense with Kamala now entering the race that Trump's campaign maybe needs to be galvanized a little bit. So this is probably a way he sees to do this. It's great for Elon. Elon has been trying to build up X. He sees, as you mentioned, he reinstated Donald Trump's account.
But Truth Social seems to be the platform of choice still for Donald Trump. I wonder if there's an aspect of this of almost trying to get Trump back on Twitter or X.
Yeah, this is the interesting thing. So Trump goes and creates Truth Social when he's banned from then Twitter. Yes, there's an interesting thing with Truth Social where, per some SEC filings, he's not allowed to post after he's posted on Truth Social anywhere else for 6 hours. So there's clearly some rules where he's, this is meant to be like his platform. But I think that expires next year. So it remains to be seen. Obviously, Elon would love to have Trump back on X. He's great for engagement.
Yes.
So there's a reason to try and bring him up. We haven't seen Trump. Trump posted his mugshot last year. That was the last time we saw any action from his account. So I think there's a feeling from Elon, probably hoping he's going to sort of bring Trump back onto the platform.
What are we going to talk about, do you think?
Gosh, well, all Elon said is, I think he said expect entertainment was the only tweet. So there'll be that. I think, they'll probably run through all sorts of things. The border, I'm sure immigration will be touched on a lot. I'm sure, they want to talk about the Democrats. Probably there'll be a chance for Trump to trash talk the Democrats, I'm sure. And free speech, obviously, is going to be a big thing for them. I think, Elon has been trying to sort of rebrand X as the free speech platform. Obviously, that's his really big thing. And Trump talks about this a lot as well. Trump is always talking about how he's being sort of suppressed and, the media's out to get him.
Well, there's free speech, but there's also misinformation, isn't there? That's been a really big problem on X. We see Hamas, for example, has so many videos out there. There have been problems even here in the UK as well with the riots. I mean, they're unlikely to get into that kind of policy, but just give us an idea of the context of the policy around that in the United States at the moment. I wonder whether Elon Musk will see this as an opportunity to lobby the person who may well be the next president of the United States in terms of sort of their version of online safety and the kind of legislation we've seen here in the UK, perhaps. Yeah,
I think Elon takes kind of the hardest line in terms of he's very much free speech, full free speech, and believes free speech kind of works itself out. There are some rules. We have community notes on X, and there are certain things people aren't allowed to say. But Elon really believes that free speech should reign. At the same time, yes, you're right. I think there's a sense Elon's sort of been radicalized by his own algorithm. He seems to engage and amplify a lot of these accounts that are pushing either misinformation or they're very sort of like we call it like rage baiting kind of accounts. So there's a lot of that. Yeah, you're right. I think he wants to. He's endorsed Donald Trump. After the attempted assassination, he said he's endorsing Trump, and I think he wants to kowtow probably a little bit. I actually think Musk could do himself a lot of favors if he grills Trump pretty hard, because I think there's a lot of people that see Elon is a bit of a, yeah, like he's sort of kowtowing to Trump a lot, and I think he'd be able to do a lot to dissuade those people's opinion on that. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a bit of a, interview might be a bit of a
love in, perhaps.
strong term. Yeah, I think love in.
And what about Elon Musk in relation to the UK government here? Because he was under a huge amount of pressure and criticism, of course, last week when he said that the UK was edging towards civil war. I just wonder what the context of X is here in the United Kingdom at the moment, certainly with the new Labour government in having faced its biggest first test, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, to my point about the whole, like, total free speech, I think that was a real test for that.
Yeah.
And I think, that probably the culmination of that was Elon retweeting that fake story about Starmer deporting people to the Falkland Islands or something. It was a made up Telegraph headline, but that really underlined the problem. So yeah, there's concern at the moment that Elon is sort of fanning the flames from afar, and by reinstating these accounts like Andrew Tate, Alex Jones, all these people who sort of also benefit from the engagement from lying sometimes, that it has repercussions beyond the United States. So yeah, there's a serious conversation obviously happening about that right now, and I don't think we've seen the end of it. And I'll be interested to see what the government decides to do moving forward, because this won't be the only time it happens, for sure.
When is it actually happening, this conversation between Elon Musk and Donald Trump? How long will it last? Do we know those kind of details?
Happens tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, so I think it's 1 a.m. here. It's a bit late.
5 hours ahead, aren't we?
Problem
Will you be staying up?
I might, or I might go to bed early and set an alarm. Beyond that, we don't actually know a lot else. Obviously, it's a big moment for Elon because, as we said, like, Trump hasn't been back to the platform. So, but beyond that, I don't think that the parameters of the interview have been really talked about much. We know he was tech testing it overnight, because you mentioned the DeSantis interview that had some real tech issues and got very glitchy. So I'm imagining Elon is doing everything to make sure that doesn't happen this time.
Indeed, two egomaniac characters having an amazing and controversial powwow. But enough about Hugh Langley's discussion with me. He's senior correspondent of Business Insider, talking about Elon Musk and Donald Trump's conversation there. Hugh, thank you very much indeed for joining me on Times Radio.